Hey Off-White Coat listeners, it is my privilege to get to tell you about this sweet deal from our friends over at Picmonic. If you haven't heard about Picmonic, it is a fantastic picture-based mnemonic platform that can certainly help out any student. Most of the videos are around 2 minutes long and provide a quick and effective way to memorize material for any upcoming medical exam. It is extremely efficient. They have this search bar function where you can search playlists on general topics like renal to step 1 to step 2, or even first aid and other books. If you want to review the Picmonic for later, you can even make a playlist of your own. Picmonic even has this repetition algorithm that is spaced out according to your learning needs. This helps with increasing long-term retention and allows you to review the right information at the right time. One of my favorite functions is the quizzes that are associated with each Picmonic. I'll take the quiz first and then learn about the associated pictures and what facts I need to sharpen up on. Honestly, Picmonic is a fantastic tool, and if you use our code OFFWHITECOAT, you'll get 20% off. That's Off-White Coat with no spaces. So what are you waiting for? Make studying the easiest part of your day. Sign up with Picmonic and use Off-White Coat to save yourself some money. All right, you ready to do this bad boy?
Yeah, I'm stage fright. I'm nervous. Okay, I'm ready.
No, it'll be fine. All right.
I'm nervous.
It'll be fine.
Okay. How many people listen to your podcast?
Thousands.
No. Are
No.
you serious?
Hell no.
Oh.
Hundreds.
What? That's a lot, Jordan. That's
Yeah.
still a lot. I thought it was just me on my ride to work.
It's like 40. That's like 40.
That's a lot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Off-White Coat Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Abney, and today I have a special treat for you. I am joined today by Anna Barton. I met her in Grenada. She was a little mentor to me, and then now she is currently my landlord, and currently is a PGY2, right?
In like 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks,
yeah.
right? In 2 weeks. So a little early, but we're getting there.
Premature.
Premature, but worth it. She deserves it. And yeah, so how have you been enjoying pediatrics so far?
Jordan, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I'm nervous.
You're good. You're good.
It's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't
She's a
regret
little
picking it.
nervous, but we're going to work through it.
I have stage fright. That's me, you, and Argos.
Well, what was the reason for you picking peds?
I feel like it's a generic answer that probably anyone who's in pediatrics would say, but I just really liked working with kids. And I feel like that was the reason why I wanted to do it from the start, but I was like, I need to give everything an honest chance and see if I like anything else better. And then I just didn't. I didn't really like old people that much.
Yeah. Was there anything that you considered besides peds?
OB.
OB?
I loved OB.
So it was babies no matter what?
Yeah, that was really it. Like, I really liked OB, but I liked delivering babies, and that was it. And then they'd be like, come watch us suture the uterus. And I was like, no, I'm okay over here, actually.
Yeah, I'll just stick to the pulling the babies out normally.
Yeah. But I did. I loved OB. I considered it heavily. And then I was like, they also have a horrible lifestyle. And I was like, I don't want to work that much.
They have to work so much. I remember I was never more tired than my OB rotation. Like, even when I did surgery, because in OB, you had to be there all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I had to drive to work. So it felt like I drove to work, came back, went to sleep, went back to work.
Do it again. Yeah. But I loved it. I didn't even mind being on call. I actually loved my calls on OB. But I was like, I feel like what I love is making all these families for people. I think that's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. Oh, Chloe, I gotta go. But, sorry.
No, you're fine.
But I was like, I feel like you make families for all these people and then you don't have time for your own. And that made me sad. So I was like, I don't think I want to do OB.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily true. I feel like I had attendings that like would come back from their Disney trips for their kid's first Disney trip. And I was like, that's nice, but I don't know. I didn't love it enough to commit that much time to it.
Yeah.
But I did love it.
So is it the same with peds though? Like, I feel like most pediatricians have like full families. It's actually like the perfect job because then you know how to take care of your kids.
See, I feel like that's what people think. But I'm like, I feel like being a pediatrician and being a parent are two totally different ballparks.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like when Joel's sisters ask me questions about their kids and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could give you medical guidance, but I can't teach you how to raise a child. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the discipline part, we were just talking about disciplining a child is totally different. Because every person's different, and then they'll try to fight back no matter how.
Yeah, and you can give, like, generic advice and, like, the things we learn in school, but, everybody's so different. And like the personalities of children are so different. I'm like, I don't know what to do with you. Oh my God,
yeah. Like even with the same parents, like every child is a little bit different.
I'm a triplet, and the three of us are the most diverse set of people. We have none of the same interests. We're all very different people.
Yeah. I was looking at your family photo. Yeah, she has a little family photo right above, literally right above where she's sitting. So, yeah, with pediatricians, I feel like you know what to do whenever they're sick. Like, I was raised by, my mom's an ER doctor. Mm-hmm. So, anytime we were hurt, she was kind of like, you're not dead.
Rub some dirt in it.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. And you're like, I'm dying, Mom. I'm dying. Like, And then she's like, I don't think so. And then she would just move on. Yeah. And so at least you would be prepared to handle some of those situations.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe. I don't know. When the time comes, I'll let you know. We'll see.
Okay. Have you enjoyed your residency so far?
Yeah, I feel like I enjoy it. It's hard, but we expect it to be hard. So there's obviously like very tough days and tough hours, but I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't regret it. Yeah. I showed you. I have my like little journal.
She's got a little sunshine.
Things that,
She's got a little sunshine folder. What did you call it? Don't you have a name for it?
I think someone else, the person who advised me to do it, called it like their Wonder Journal or something. And it's just like all the things that made you feel good throughout your residency and like the patients that made you smile and like stories that made you happy. And I'm like, these are the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. But any career is going to have good and bad days. But like remembering the good days is more important. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, they are the cutest little letters that these children have written her. Right now you're currently practicing in, or you're doing your residency in Jersey. Uh-huh. Would you want to have done it anywhere else? Was there any other place that you
I would have been open to doing it anywhere else. I didn't have a strong desire to necessarily go somewhere else. I would have been open to it. I feel like we're like at a phase in our lives where like it'd be cool to really live anywhere and experience something new. So it would have been fine, but my family's here, so my preference was Jersey.
Okay. Yeah. When you're close to your family, it definitely makes things easier. Yeah. You're about to be PGY2.
Yes.
Will there be any increased responsibilities after your intern year?
I mean, yes and no, because I feel like as an intern, when I started my intern year, I was always concerned about the responsibility but there's always someone else that's watching you, right? There's always someone who's supposed to be overseeing what you do. So like, yes, there's more responsibility. We do more calls alone. We're supposed to be like, we will be a senior on the call with an intern and trying to teach them and guide them and making decisions at night and whatever. But there's still an attending that's always overseeing what you're doing and someone you're always going to ask questions to. So yes, there's a different level of responsibility, but you still have a lot of guidance. These are the things I tell myself to feel better.
Yeah, because that's the concern is once the responsibility goes up and the guidance goes down, then I'm like, uh-oh. Like, things can get a little dicey like here. I'm not sure if I know.
But I think everyone feels that way. Like, I have a couple attendings that are, like, fresh out of residency, and I think they feel that way, too. And they're like, oh, shoot, this is, like, a new phase, a new set of responsibility. Yeah. But I think that's just the career we picked. I think it's going to take a long time to feel comfortable.
It's because you're working with other people, right? Yeah. You want the best for these people. Yeah. So you're like, I will do whatever I can for them. And then, but you also have like self-doubt because you want to do everything for somebody else. And you're like, well, what if I don't know every little incident that could happen?
And like the art of medicine, so to speak, is so real. Like there's so much of medicine that's so subjective and you can make what you think is the best decision at that moment. But there's not always a right or wrong. And that's scary.
That's why it's the practice instead of the science of medicine.
Yes.
Somebody told me
that's like an underrated part of medicine. People don't realize until you're doing it and you're like, wow, I ruminate over decisions I make for like hours. I'm like, I hope that was right.
Yeah. Has there been any decisions that made you like take a step back and say, maybe I should have done something different in that action?
There have been. I feel like a few times I've had patients that I feel like I didn't feel right about. Like I felt like maybe they like were sicker than we were accepting. There was 2 patients that I was like, this patient looks pretty sick, and I feel like I didn't advocate enough for that. And these were both night patients. So the attending wasn't there. They can't see the patient. They only know what you tell them. And I feel like I was like, well, I'm an intern, and if my seniors are not as concerned, why should I be? And twice I had patients that moved to the PICU not far after, and I was like, I feel like I should have advocated more and expressed more that I was concerned. It doesn't matter that I'm an intern. I had a gut instinct, and I should have said that. And I think about that all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I came home and like cried for hours after one patient because I was like, I feel like I did a disservice by not advocating more.
Yeah, that same thing actually happened to me in the most recent shift that I was on.
Yeah.
The intern, or he wasn't an intern, the second year, he had this, we went and saw this patient, and he had multiple falls and stuff like that, but he also like was injecting heroin and was doing all this at like 70, living his best life. So we thought he would get admitted. And then the attending saw him and was like, this guy looks, and when we go to see him, he looks better than he's ever looked before.
Yeah.
And then she's like, this guy looks fine. Like, all this is just musculoskeletal, because he had this weird diffuse pain. Like, he was like, anywhere you touched him, it hurt. And then, so we go, they're like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then they look at the labs later, and they were like, oh, geez, like, do we really send this person home? Oh, because
really?
the attending, because the way he looked originally, it was fine. But
patients do that, though. They lie. When the attendings come, it's like they're a whole different patient. Their presentation's so different. I'm like, I swear, like, they either looked like garbage 2 seconds ago, or they look great 2 seconds ago, and the attending walks in, it's the total opposite. I'm like, I have clinical knowledge, I swear, but this patient looks different now.
There's so many times that I've gone there and they're like, oh, there's this pain that's like in my back. And then like it occasionally wraps around, but it's mainly in my back. And then I go say that, and then I come in there like, I got chest pain and shortness of breath.
Like, Jordan, why don't you just say so?
Yeah. This is not what you told me at all. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, I swear I asked the question.
I promise. That's a patient's job, to make a liar out of you.
Yeah, I know. I get made a liar out of plenty of times. So you're fresh off of a 24. What are your usual hours like?
It depends on the rotation. I feel like my intern year, we do a lot of service rotations. So a lot of like inpatient heavy rotations, and like a regular floor day, we usually get there at like 5:30 in the morning, pre-round our patients, pre-round on them, whatever, go about our day. And then we sign out at 5:30. We're probably there until like, I don't know, 7, 8. If we like finish signing out, write some notes, come home. So those days are hard. My hours right now are like 7 to 5:30ish. They're not bad.
So okay. So how many hours is that, like a week? Do you know?
It depends. Because it depends on what I'm taking
more than the
calls
average.
And stuff. Yeah. I think my logged hours this week were like 72 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I figured I was
pretty
like
good for medicine, I gotta say, but not great hours.
I mean, yeah, pretty good for medicine, but you don't make any overtime.
No.
So
that's like on
that's
our
not
paycheck,
good.
it says $33 an hour. I'm like, no one's paying us by the hour. That's if I worked a regular day, which I do not. When you actually calculate it, and numerous residents have, we make like $5 an hour. It's the saddest thing.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. The even still, when I look at how much people are getting paid and everything, I'm like, God, you don't make anything.
No,
Yeah. And you're not making overtime. Like when I tell you, like Anna, it was like a great day because you were gone you left at like 5:36, whatever time you woke up.
Yeah.
You were gone all day. Didn't come home till 6:45. She went to the grocery store, went home, cooked. Then right after she cooked, she just went showered and went to bed. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Like, there was not much more time left in the day.
I was like, Jordan, I gotta go.
Yeah. I was like, this girl literally just went home, like did not have a single second of rest. The only time she had to rest was talking to me, and God help her for that.
No, it was great.
So how many rotations do you do in pediatrics? Like you said, you have rotations, correct?
Yeah.
Is it in different styles of pediatrics, or is it
like this year we get more into that? So like our first year, it's very inpatient heavy. So we do 4 general pediatric like hospitalist rotations. We do a PICU rotation, 2 NICU rotations in the nursery. So that's all inpatient medicine. And like a couple scattered subspecialties. But this next year I do a lot more subspecialties. Like I'll do like nephrology, cardiology, endocrinology, pulmonology. So I look forward to that. Like I'm interested to see more of the subspecialties. But we rotate through everything. That
was one of the coolest things in my peds rotation was there was like an outpatient clinic, but they had a different specialist come every day. Like so it was like awesome. A cardiologist, an endocrinologist.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can either do the basic one or you can just hang out with a specialist. I was like, I'm definitely doing this every day. Because you get to see like a lot of like unique cases.
Yeah,
like
and in such
baby
different detail.
And,
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. So wait, so what is your next rotation? Because right now you're kind of at a smaller hospital, correct?
Right. but still
What's
doing
your
like
next
a general
one?
pediatrician.
But yeah, you do the general one.
Yeah. Next, I'm doing allergy and immunology, which I think will be interesting. I feel like especially in peds, because I feel like parents are always asking, like, when can we introduce new foods? And what do we do? How do we know if they're having allergic reactions? Stuff like that. So I thought it'd be interesting from, like, a general peds perspective, too. But I heard the hours are really good, to be honest with you.
Really?
That's why.
You're like, that's why I'm looking forward to
I need a break. Yeah.
Allergy and immunology. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of it is, like you said, like, when do I introduce certain foods?
Mm-hmm. And, like, what even
what
need an
is an allergy?
Like, what can a general pediatrician do versus when will you refer them to an allergist?
I guess when it's really bad, I don't know.
That's what I said.
The peanut allergies.
That's what I said. When I was at, like, clinic, my attending asked me, and I was like, I don't know. Like, if we try to fix it and we can't, we send them to allergy. And they were like, okay, fine. Fair answer.
When is the best time for the general public? When is the best time to introduce food? I've heard that you want to introduce peanuts and stuff like that early so that they don't become allergic. There's
science that says that if you introduce them earlier, you might be able to prevent peanut allergies. That is true. So we usually say you could just do it when they start eating solids.
Oh,
but you could do it with, like, peanut butter. Like, you're not going to go give a 6-month-old a peanut, obviously.
Yeah, because isn't it the
PSA
dust
to
and
anyone who's
everything?
listening.
Yeah, the dust and everything can also cause the allergic reaction, right?
Yeah.
So,
like, obviously they need to be able to, like,
peanut butter.
Yeah, protect their airway. They don't really have teeth, so don't give them, like, true solids. But when you start introducing soft foods, you can, like, do smoothies with peanut butter or something and introduce it that way.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same with shellfish. I get that question a lot. When can you introduce shellfish? 6 months. You can do it right away.
Okay, because it's softer.
Mm-hmm.
I swear we had a patient, and the baby was very, very young.
Yeah.
And they had just started it on vegetables.
Yeah.
And they were like, we keep giving her vegetables, and now she's not pooping. And
when they transition to solids, a lot of times they get constipated.
Yeah.
Because breast milk makes their stool loose. So a lot of times they think they're constipated, but it's just because they're switching to solid foods.
That makes sense. Yeah, because they kept saying, like, oh, we keep trying to give her vegetables, and now she hasn't pooped for like
think of all
7
the fiber.
days.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So you want to breast milk, and I know I'm trying to learn this, but you want to breast milk and just integrate like small amounts of food.
One food at a time. If they react, you won't know what it's to if you introduce too many things. I don't think parents really follow that, though.
No,
I feel like once they start solids, they eat everything. Yeah.
I'm literally thinking back to like my parents, and it's just kind of like all the just random Gerber or whatever foods start,
like, fine,
and then they just
we have, you try it.
Start giving you things. Like, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
And then it's just Cheerios to shut you up.
Yeah, that's true.
That little bag of Cheerios that every kid has or whatever.
Yeah.
So in pediatrics, has there been any very, very serious cases? And is that the most difficult part of the job, or what is the most difficult part of the job?
I would say it is. I feel like before I did peds, everyone was always like, oh, the parents are so difficult. But I actually don't find that to be true. Like, yes, there are difficult parents, but I feel like in any field you go into, if you have a concerned family member, they're going to be difficult. So I don't find that to be the hardest. I do think that the sick patients are very hard.
Yeah, no matter what, the family will be difficult.
I always felt that way. I was like, even on geriatrics, you have their children they could be very feisty because it comes from a place of love, and that can be very frustrating as like the medical personnel, but you have to understand where they're coming from as a family member. But yeah, I honestly do think the really sick kids are difficult, but I feel like counseling parents about their really sick child is probably the hardest part. Because it's like with children, if they're really that sick, it's like they didn't really have, they're so young. They didn't have a chance to like do this to themselves. It just happens. And that's what's really hard about trying to explain to a family member, like when kids are really sick, and then a lot of times they try to find a reason why, and sometimes there's not a reason why, and that's really sad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't know. That part's hard.
That is one of the reasons that I thought, like, I don't know if I could be a pediatrician, because I have so much empathy or sympathy for a child that has done nothing wrong. Yeah. And now they have a cancer.
It is hard.
Now they have something going on.
And like our abuse cases are so much harder for that reason. I
was just thinking, like, there was a little girl that she's like 16 and got a good head on her shoulders, but she has like severe asthma. Yeah. And she lives in like this roach motel of a house with her mom, and her mom she sleeps in the same bed with her mom, and her mom smokes cigarettes.
And they have no choice. That's what can a 16-year-old do otherwise?
Yeah, like the 16-year-old's in there, and the pediatrician's like, honey, your mom still smoke still? Yeah. She's like, yeah. She's like, soon. You're going to be fine. You're like, oh, my heart is just ripping in shreds.
That part is definitely hard.
Is there any restrictions as being in like your first year or maybe even in your second year that are like different than whenever you're the full attending status? Like restrictions on like procedures or things that you can't do?
I mean, we always have a chaperone for certain procedures and stuff, but like now I just got certified to be able to chaperone other people in certain procedures.
Ooh.
I just got an email about it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But like only like we log our procedures, and once you hit a certain amount, they deem you competent enough to teach someone else how to do that. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I don't feel that confident myself. But okay. Like I got approved for arterial punctures and lumbar punctures. I was like, I've done 2 lumbar punctures. I do not feel confident that I can assist any. And one of them was, they're both on teenagers. I was like, I don't feel like I can guide someone else to doing that, but they gave me the green check. But then again, there's an attending there anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah. And then you're going to be doing the teaching, and the attending is going to be teaching you and teaching the other person.
Like overshadowing my teaching and making sure I'm not corrupting the new ones. But
no, that's funny. So pediatrics, is it 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Okay. Any aspiration to be the chief?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I really like medical education, so I feel like it'd give me a good opportunity to like learn how to be a better teacher and like a better leader. I think also like because our chief year is an extra year, some programs do it within the 3rd year. And I feel like that would give me the ability to like kind of feel out if I really, because right now I'm toying with the idea of doing hospitalist medicine. I feel like if I can do a chief year and kind of pick up a couple extra shifts and see if that's what I really want to do, that would give me more confidence in committing to that for the rest of my life. So
yeah, because it's so funny because some people are so against it.
Yeah.
And some people are like, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like even me, I'm kind of like,
would you do it?
Yeah, I mean, depending on, well, it depends
on
whatever.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of extra responsibility because I feel like I want to help make sure the team goes well. Like if I'm the best person for the job, then I need to be doing it. Period.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I am certainly. If that's not the case, I'm glad to give up the spot.
Don't pick me.
But if I am, then I unfortunately will not like shy away from it.
Yeah.
So. But it's so funny because some people, like a lot of the residents that I've talked to have been like, no, I would like never even consider.
And I was surprised by that. I feel like I thought that was something more people would want to do, but I feel like more often than not, I meet people who would never want to do it, which was surprising to me. I feel like it's a great opportunity. And I always really admired my mentors, so I feel like it's a good way to give back, if that makes sense, and like be able to do that for someone else. I don't know.
Because in medical school, everybody's like a gunner. Like they're like chasing, fighting each other for it.
It's terrible.
But enough about pediatrics for now. So we were just talking about it. But you had a DES group too.
Yeah, we did.
It was like the Glucose Guardian.
Yes. I was just about to say, I can't remember the name, but yes, it was Glucose Guardian.
Yeah. Yes. That was super helpful. So I was like a first year medical student. And I remember the first test, I thought, oh, this will be fine. And then like I didn't do terrible, but I also like there were so many parts where I was like, oh, I could have gotten that if I had known what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I went to see y'all, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is what I needed to like study. I don't know, y'all were always just like so nice. I feel like that was
the point of it, because I feel like it's so easy to get like drown in all the resources medical school offers, and like the learning curve in med school is underrated. The amount of information you learn in such a short period of time and have on your exam is so underrated. It's like a semester of college is crammed into like a week in medical school.
Yeah.
So I feel like just being able to guide people on like this is the stuff to focus on makes such a difference.
Like that whole MCAT science, like the physiology and all that, that's all like at the very beginning of medical school.
Oh yeah, that was the first term. Oh yeah.
And then first term, and then they move on.
Maybe actually the first exam. It wasn't even
it wasn't even first. Yeah, it was literally like they knocked it out and then moved on.
Which is great. I remember being like, "This is miserable. I'm so dumb." My dad was like, "You'll never see this again. Just take the exam and move on." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Did you start using like resources like that when you entered medical school? Or?
The DES groups I did think were helpful. I think more for like their resources. Like I feel like there were so many that made like really helpful, concise study guides, and I feel like that helped guide how I would want to make my own. And I just did. I learned by being tormented on practice questions. Like I learn, and it burns in my brain every time I get a question wrong. So I used to go to all like the questions, like they used to do like the clicker question sessions with some of the DES groups. I used to love those.
That's what I did most. Is I did the DES groups and like the clicker question sessions.
too.
Those were definitely the.
I was like, that's how I remember better. Some people just learn by watching a video, but not me.
No, I have to miss something.
Me
Like,
too.
I learn from my mistakes. I
feel really bad about myself. Yeah.
I learn really well from my mistakes, but if I don't make a mistake, then I won't remember it. Yeah,
me too.
Did you do any other tutoring besides the DES group?
No, I didn't actually. Just the DES group.
Because I remember we wanted y'all to do your DES group more. Like y'all were so busy towards the end. By the time we were coming up,
different terms too. So like what we were focusing on in those moments were so different too. So it was like it was hard to keep it going.
Yeah, we were like, please give us your resources.
It was fun though. I liked it.
Oh yeah, and it also gave you ways to like interact. Like because I did a DES group as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was me and Jesus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were Jump Street DES. And we just used a bunch of the 21 Jump Street memes, like throughout the whole presentation.
That's so funny. Mine was all dogs. No surprise.
Yes, it was. It was dogs. I remember that. I remember Jesus, though, was so funny one time. So we were supposed to work on this presentation, but we had just finished a test, and we were like, okay, we have a DES group tomorrow, but we had a test, and then like in a week and a half or something like that, the terms below us had a test. And we hadn't really worked on it, so we were like, we're going to work on it right after the test, and then we'll like go out, and we'll celebrate the test. And then we didn't work on it after.
You only went out.
And then we only went out. And then we were like, okay, we'll wake up. I remember I woke up so early, like with like a hangover.
Good for you.
And I just started writing questions because I knew I'm like messaging Jesus, no answer. And he's got like
way more fun.
He's got half. I remember he finally answered me like right before we have to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm writing my questions like right now." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so I like walk up to he's like, "I'll be there a little bit later."
Yeah.
And so I go to this DES group and I'm like doing the presentation. Occasionally I just back out.
Yeah.
And then I go back into the presentation because then there's like 5 new questions. And then we're just going through it. Yeah, and there was a lady that was there to monitor us and see what we, like if we were doing it right. And she was like, oh, is there just one of you? I thought there was, I think he's having car trouble. And then Jesus just flies in. He's like, oh, my scooter wrecked, like blah, blah, blah. And she's like,
so funny.
Oh my goodness. And then, because I was like doing his questions, but I had no idea what the answers were.
Surprising yourself.
I'm like, I believe
Let's
that
see the next slide. Yeah.
B. And then I'm like, oh, computer error. Let's go start that back up again. 5 new.
This is a legit group,
you can see him typing it as it's coming in the question.
That is so funny.
But those were fun. They gave you like a good way to interact with other students, and it also gave us a way to make like a little bit of money.
Yeah, very little money.
I mean, it was literally
like
I think it was like $7 a week.
Garbage money, yeah. I used to like go buy cookies at New York Bagel with it. That's what I spent my money on.
Yeah, we would go and immediately spend our money on a wrap. Like we would go.
Exactly, and that was your whole salary.
That was the whole literally right after the DES group.
For the money. If we wanted the money, we would have picked a real job somewhere off in Grenada. But yeah, it was garbage money.
Yeah, it did help, I guess, solidify information. Like you got to teach it and stuff like that. But then I haven't had to use any of that information.
Oh yeah, me neither.
But I'm also a person that kind of like hoards information. I still have like one of your PowerPoints on my laptop. Yeah, like
I
the
love
glucose
that.
guardian.
I don't even think I have them.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so I just would keep all this stuff, and then when it came time, I would be like, oh, okay, like I can give this to somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
So that actually worked out well. What are some of the other things that you did on the island that you really enjoyed?
Tanning. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Not really, though. I didn't have a lot of hobbies. I wish I explored Grenada more than I did. I was thinking about that. I was listening to your podcast, and I was listening to like you reminiscing with some of your friends about the things you did in Grenada. And I was like, I feel like I didn't do a lot of that because I was so scared of like failing and not being. And I was like, it'd be my own fault if I failed, and it's because I was like off island hopping or something. I regret it now because I'm like, everyone has all these great experiences, and I didn't get to do it. But I was like, if I failed and I didn't match, and I don't know what, I would have regretted it. I was just so scared.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly was playing with fire, but
but everyone did it. We lived there for 2 years.
Yeah,
that was
now you just got to come back and go enjoy it.
I know. I'm ready to go back, but I did love the thing I looked forward to most in Grenada was going to Grand Anne's after an exam.
Oh yes,
because your whole class was there, and everyone was just like that was the one time that everyone was just there to have fun, and no one's I mean, people were talking about the exam, but I was like, that's enough of that.
You could literally just cut them off. Yeah, you could
yeah.
cut them off and then just move
Drink
on.
a rum punch and you'll forget.
After an exam, though, everybody was loose.
Yes.
Everybody was loose.
Other days, I felt how you said. I was like, I feel like I need to be studying. I can't have too much fun. Everyone else is in the library.
Yeah, I'm like, can I bring my iPad to the beach?
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
Not even, you won't
Enjoy
even look
it or
at
don't.
it.
If you need to bring your iPad, stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people would do that. One girl I
I
remember,
know.
she laminated all of her pages of notes, which was like
I've seen people do that.
80 pages of notes.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Like, it was too many notes to be floating in a pool with. And she was just floating in the pool looking through it. I was like, okay.
It's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, like then you're not
Enjoy it.
studying. Like, I'd just rather take that time.
Me too.
Are you happy, though, that you went to SGU?
Yes, I am. And now when people ask me, I'm so proud to say that I went to SGU because I feel like it got me exactly where I wanted to be. So what's the difference if I went here to an American school? At first, I definitely was concerned about the stigma. And I feel like I have a lot of, when I was pre-med at Boston, all my friends got into American schools. And I felt like a little bit ashamed, yes, that I could only get into a foreign school and whatever. But now looking back, I'm like, that's so dumb because I'm exactly where I'd want to be. And like this, I'm living my dream now. So like, what does it matter if I went to an American school or a foreign school? It got me exactly where I want to be. And I had the cool experience of living in the Caribbean for 2 years. Yeah.
You have a totally different experience than most people. Most people think that having those different life experiences make you more interesting than, I'm not going to.
I think so.
I'm not trying to shit on other people that didn't go, to Grenada.
No, I think it's cool. I'm proud of it now. And I think it changes you so much as a person. Like, people don't understand. It's not just living in the Caribbean in a beautiful beach. Like, we lived in a third world country. It was a very, very different experience of what we have here. And it changes you.
And you had to grind in a third world country.
Yes.
It's not as simple as, it definitely changes you. Like, there's a little bit of an edge that you get right around that time.
Yeah.
I'm glad, though, I chose, I remember when my mom went to AUC, so I was kind of deciding between going back to St. Martin or going to Grenada, but then I was like, I'll just be a little different. I'll be a little different.
This is my story. Yeah.
And I'm really glad, though, because then the hurricane hit, right around that time, and everybody had to transplant, but luckily Grenada was below the hurricane belt.
Yeah. We were so lucky. We didn't experience a lot of crazy natural disaster things. Mm-hmm. We had a couple earthquakes here and there, and that was it.
Oh my God, that one earthquake was my first week on the island. We were doing our orientation, and then all of a sudden the building started shaking, and we had those little colleges or whatever, and they met. We were meeting with them.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah,
I didn't have that.
And it was the first year they were implementing it, and then the building starts shaking, and people are like, earthquake! And we're on the third floor of this building. I'm like, do I run downstairs? I was like, what
do I do?
Yeah, I was like, the building collapses. I'm in Grenada. Yeah.
Were you on the island when they had the email that went out that said "Run, Hide, Fight"?
We're on what?
Run, Hide, Fight. I think that was before
Run, Hide, Fight. No, maybe.
Oh my gosh, this is my first term.
Is that what you do when when someone with a machete comes in?
Literally, they sent us an email that said that someone was on the campus and you need to go lock yourself. So I was in my dorm. And I was like, oh my gosh, close the blinds. I don't want people to know we're here. Lock the doors. In the email, it said in all capital letters, it looked like a prank. Run, hide, fight. And I was like, oh my goodness. This is when I was first talking to Joel. I was like, are you safe? Where are you? And then we get a follow-up email from SGU being like, so sorry, accidentally set off the alert system. Please ignore. I was like, okay, you set off the alert system, but also your alert to us is run, hide, fight. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's the alert.
That is SGU in a nutshell.
Yeah,
in all capital letters. People were making T-shirts. They thought it was the funniest thing.
Oh, that's actually great. Yeah, the interesting thing about Grenada is that there's not any guns on the island, or not supposed to be.
Yes,
there's not supposed to be guns, but the only people that have guns are police officers and taxi drivers, and then most people they just have machetes. One time, I swear, and machetes are very frequent. You see them all the time. Mary Beth was driving, and this guy kind of walked right in front of us. You could tell he was drunk. You could tell it was midday. It's near. We're going to the fish market.
Yeah.
And he stumbles by, no shirt on, no shoes on, and Mary Beth honks her horn. And I guess in his other hand he had a machete that we didn't, and he just swings it out, and you could tell there was just pure anger, and Mary Beth kind of froze up for a second. She was I was like, go, 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 go.
That's scary.
It's like, drive. Hit him. No, I'm just kidding. But we just like kept going. Yeah, because it was like we slammed on our brakes, and he looked at us weird. She just honked her horn at him, and I was like, and then all of a sudden he whipped out a machete. I was like,
oh
go.
my gosh. My cousin lived in True Blue, but in like one of like the like locals neighborhoods, not like a student lived in neighborhood. And his next door neighbor was robbed with a machete.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
How throughout medical school and even now, you don't have much free time. How do you deal with like that stress?
I feel like I don't feel that stressed about not having free time because I knew what I signed up. And I feel like maybe you can relate because you had like your mother is a physician, but I feel like all my life, my parents have told me this is going to be hard. You're not going to, and like I watched my mom worked part-time. She's like a part-time breast radiologist. So she was home a lot. My dad was a cardiologist. He was never home. So I feel like I was used to growing up and seeing the discipline of medicine, I guess. So like, I don't think I expected to have a lot of free time. So I just don't feel like it affects me that much. Like, yeah, it sucks. I would like more time to like sleep and spend with family, but I just feel like I'm like, this is a means to an end. And like, I want to pick a subspecialty that gives me more free time, but I know that this is the journey it takes to get there. So I don't know. I don't really think about it that much. That's
a good way to look at it because I guess I similarly know like there's a certain amount of discipline and some people complain about that constantly that they don't have that extra time.
Yeah.
But you know that kind of came with the territory, or at least I haven't seen anybody that had a lot of free time that did it. It
stinks, but I feel like we're fortunate that we were exposed to that, so we knew to anticipate that. I guess so. It didn't surprise me. I don't feel shorted my free time. I knew that that's what it was going to be like, and we'll get past it.
Yeah,
it gets better.
So, because your dad's Greek, but did he always practice in Jersey?
Yeah. Always.
Or did he always practice in the States?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Not going to oust him either.
Because he was an IMG also initially. He went to Guadalajara for 2 years and
then
transferred. And he went to Albany, but they were like, we're not going to take your credits from Guadalajara. He was like, fine, I don't care. If I get to say that I was an American grad at the end of this, that's fine. So he transferred to Albany. And when I was in SGU, he always tried to convince me to transfer out and go to an American school. And I was like, I'm happy here, though. Like, I liked SGU. People had a lot of complaints, but I really liked it. I feel like where I came from undergrad was also very competitive. So there were a lot of gunners in med school, but I was kind of used to it. So it didn't bother me. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about doing the whole transfer thing too, but then I was like, because I think
it's also harder to transfer now than it was back then. So I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm content doing what I'm doing, and I don't want to.
To be honest, I enjoyed. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the island.
Me too.
Sometimes once it got into the clinical stuff, it has been a little.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit hectic trying to figure out.
Especially with COVID time, I feel like that made clinical time very difficult. Yeah.
How was COVID for you? Because that was your intern year, or was it right before?
No, it was right before. It was like end of my third year, and
so you were doing the match during COVID.
Yes, we were the first set of virtual interviews.
Oh, how was that?
It's so funny. I was talking to someone about this the other day. Where when I was interviewing at SGU, I remember they gave me the option to do a virtual interview, and I was like, absolutely not. I want to go in person. I want them to really get to know me. I feel like they'll get to know Anna Barton better in person. And then when we were doing virtual interviews for residency, I loved it because I was like, I get to like hide behind my screen a little bit. I felt more comfortable. I was in my zone.
You're not wearing pants?
I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing like pajama pants.
Yeah, it's funny that it started. The virtual interviews were just because of COVID, but now that's actually, I think it's becoming a standard. Yeah.
And we don't realize how fortunate that is because think about how difficult it is to like schedule your interviews and stuff. And like there were a couple times that I had to do like 2 interviews in one day, and one would be in New York and one would be in California. And like if we were doing it in person, we didn't have the freedom to do that. And the price of tickets and hotels, like we got a little lucky.
Yeah, we got really lucky. And it helps the programs out too because they can interview more people.
True.
The interesting thing about it is the fact that, like you said, like we have to pay for everything. Mm-hmm. We have to pay for flights. We have to pay for literally every bit of it. So to go do interviews in multiple different states and multiple, it's almost,
it's hard.
It's so difficult. And you've already spent thousands of dollars on applying to a bunch of different places.
Right.
And then,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. It's just consistently.
Totally.
Being a medical student, you have to pay. You don't get paid for your work, but you have to pay throughout the whole process. Like I had to even pay for my badge at the hospital.
What?
Like at the hospital, almost every hospital I've been to, I've had to
Really?
pay like whether
Have I
it's a
done that? I don't
deposit
remember.
and then
And
they
they
give it back to
which
you.
is ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm like, why are you okay?
I don't remember if I
But
did.
this one, they just charged me $15. There's been 2 of them where they just charge you, and then
Really?
one charged me to get a drug test.
Oh yeah, I had that too. Actually,
I was like, what are we doing here? I was like, do you realize I don't make any money, right? Like,
in fact, I have hundreds of thousands.
you're about
of
to
debt.
make, I'm about to be homeless.
Yeah.
And you're like, can you pay for a drug test?
You're not. You have this beautiful home.
Well, yeah. Currently supplied by you.
No, you're
Thank
right.
God you're making money.
A little bit, but yes.
Yeah. So you were talking about like a subspecialty. Do you have like a future subspecialty that you want to do?
No, but I think it's because I haven't seen a lot of the subspecialties either. Like, I like the idea of peds cardio. I did a peds cardio rotation, but then I was like, I'm not really good at hearing murmurs, so I don't know if I can do that. And I was like, oh, I kind of like peds GI, but I don't really like G-tubes. Like, I don't think I'm very passionate about any single specialty right now. So I think I'll probably end up doing hospitalist medicine because it's more broad. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's really interesting. I feel like I went into medicine because I really like the mystery of like solving a problem and trying to figure out what someone has. So I don't really like primary care because more often than not you're preventing problems, but you're not really solving problems, which is a very important job, but not for me. So I think I'm going to end up doing hospitalist medicine, but we'll see. Who knows? Who knows what I'll see and love in the next couple of years.
Yeah, you need Joel's stethoscope, the little Echo stethoscope.
I need it.
For
I really do
Pete's
need
cards.
It's funny because I asked an attending about that once because I was like, oh, like Joel has this really good stethoscope. It amplifies the sound and whatever. And he actually said he advises against it because he was like, now you're hearing the smallest little thing and doing like $1 million workup for something that's probably just a regular like flow murmur or something like that.
Oh, because
like,
in kids,
yeah. I was like, okay, that makes me feel better about being deaf.
Yeah. We keep mentioning Joel. Joel is her, I guess, significant other would be the best way to describe him.
That is who, I guess so.
Significant, yeah.
That is who he is.
Yeah, the different specialties were really, really interesting to me. Like, I didn't think I would like endocrinology when I saw a peds endocrinologist because I was like, oh, it's just going to be kind of like hefty children, pretty much. I thought, and that's no disrespect. I just thought it would just be diabetes, but. The lady that was the endocrinologist, she got to see like a ton of different things.
Oh, it's so interesting. I think it's very difficult.
I feel
like people think endocrinology is more straightforward than it is. I could never do it because I think I'm not smart enough to do it.
Yeah, but she was using like formulas.
Oh, they say the craziest thing.
Yeah, I think
one of my scariest patients was a patient that came in a complete adrenal crisis, and she was so sick, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want nothing to do with this. This is so, I hate critical care. It's not my thing. But I was like, that's endocrinology. Everyone thinks it's just like fixing sugars and stuff. But I was like, no, this is hardcore. Yeah,
there was a little girl. I'll never forget this child because she was like she looked like the sweetest little child.
Yeah.
But she had recessive polycystic kidney disease. And she was like super thin and was like, oh my God, sweet child. Like, somebody get some food in this kid. Like, they're like, she eats constantly. She's just.
Yeah.
And she looked like emaciated. And I was just like,
that's sad.
And they're like, we tried to feed her. And she was just so sweet. She had like a little unicorn hat on. I was like, oh my God, these kids break my heart.
Pete's. That's
every
why
time.
I like Pete's so much, though. They're so cute.
Yeah, they are cute as can be.
And they'll probably make you laugh. Even on a really bad day, they'll probably say something really funny. And I'm like, okay, that's why I'm doing this.
What was so we'll go back to when they wrote you that little letter. Didn't they say thank you for taking care of the elderly or something?
He said, dear healthcare worker, thank you for taking care of the elderly. Like, you're so welcome.
It's like, sweetie, I only take care of you. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But at least they were thinking,
that's right.
Thinking about the old people.
He's not even thinking about himself. He's thinking about everyone else.
Look at him, altruistic. So you don't have any interest in critical care, so you wouldn't want to do like a PED or anything like that?
I toy with the idea, but I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I'm not adrenaline junkie. I don't like adrenaline that much. Not my thing.
You like it.
I'm like, if someone stabilizes them a little bit, then sure, I'll take them after, but I don't want them when they're still. I want to help make people better, but I don't want to do it while they're trying to die on me. I hate that.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Is when you realize somebody is trying to die on you and you're like, damn it,
I'm like, stop doing that. Let me help you.
Yeah.
And everything you're doing is not working. I hate that feeling.
And you walk away, and then things get worse.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden now they have a fever. You're like, they didn't come in with a fever.
How dare you?
What just happened?
I actually love the NICU. That is an aspect of critical care that I do really love. But it felt, I don't know. I think that's another one that has kind of a hard lifestyle. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so the NICU, yeah, because the babies were so small. Like I remember they put a line in the little baby, and they used little what is it, like the little light that shows the
little
vein?
transluminator.
Yes,
Yeah,
and the whole time I was just like, this poor child,
this
poor child.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do like NICU though.
Yeah, I remember when I did my peds rotation, it was in the middle of COVID. They had a baby. It was they didn't know at the time about the correct procedure when the mom had COVID.
Yeah.
And what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, do we take the baby? Does the baby already have COVID? What is going on?
Yeah.
Is this baby now like a bomb that's infected? Because usually
that's how they treat, even at Morristown, they're still kind of treating them like they're a bomb that's going to set off, and like they can't be around any of the other babies and stuff. They're very isolated.
Yeah. Because
they didn't test positive. It's the mom. You're right.
Yeah, it's not the mom. Or it's just the mom. Yeah, we at first they had no idea if the baby would be positive or not.
Right.
I remember it was like a C-section. The baby came out, and they put the baby in like an isolated area, and they had to COVID swab them.
Yeah.
And I had to COVID swab this baby because they didn't even the attendings were kind of nervous about like COVID stuff. Yeah. And then they're like, "Have you done a COVID swab?" And I had done like 3 on adults.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Yeah."
My nose is much bigger than that baby.
Yeah. And then I was like, "But I mean, I got the general picture." So. Yeah, they give me the normal COVID swab thing, and I go in there and I'm in the NICU, and you got to like put your hands in the little glove things, like come in. Yeah,
isolate. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I go to swab this baby. First time doing that at all, so I'm kind of just figuring this out as I'm going. Yeah, I'm like, and they're just standing out there watching me, and I'm like looking at this box, like I've never even looked at these boxes before, and like put it in. And then, poor child. I think that was his first memory is me shoving the little swab, Q-tip up his swab up his nose.
Oh, you're on his life, Jordan.
I know. He's like, ah. Yeah, I think there might be something. Now, I think it's later on because like isolation that early, it might not mean anything. But I know for a fact that if you isolate children for a certain period of time, especially during those growing years, like that can really have an effect on their life. Like that's what kind of happened to the Unabomber. He was isolated he got really sick as a child, and they isolated him, and he couldn't see his parents or anything.
Oh wow, I didn't know
and so it kind of like made him a little sick.
Yeah.
In general, there's like a Netflix documentary, we
should watch that.
It's really good.
That sounds up my alley.
Because he did that, and then he did like Harvard. He went to Harvard still. He was really smart, but then he did these tests with the CIA, and they were like trying to break him down, but he already had no trust because he had this moment of neglect in his life. That's
so sad.
So it was like they doubled down. I guess most people would have been fine.
Yeah.
But once they tried to break him, and he was already predisposed, like he went over the edge.
That's so
sad.
He
lost trust in everything.
Yeah.
So, that might be what we watch next. We watched Top Gun on my first night. It was quite great. All right. We're already reaching close to an hour, so this is going good. She was nervous at first, so I knew once.
Right now. Now it's just a conversation.
Yeah, that's what it always is.
Yes.
We're gonna move kind of away from medicine. I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions, mainly like funny things. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So, what is your favorite animal? I think I know the answer.
You know the answer. What's my favorite animal, Jordan?
A dog.
A dog.
A cat.
No! I actually like all fluffy animals, but dog's my favorite.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with cats?
No,
it's just dogs.
If there was a cat right there, I'd probably snuggle it. But I'm a dog girl.
Even now, she has pictures of her sister's dog in her house.
Still hates that.
So that's good. And all of the blankets have dogs on them and things like that.
I do have a little bit of an unhealthy obsession with dogs.
What's the most interesting place that you visited?
Probably Grenada, to be honest with you.
Really? Even after Greece? We were just talking about... I guess I'm a fool for Greece.
Yeah. I feel like that's like... Because I go and that's like my family. So it doesn't feel... I mean, I studied abroad in London. I saw a lot of places when I studied abroad. I love Europe.
Wait, when you studied abroad, what did you... Was that in college or was that in...
In college. I studied abroad in London. With 3 of my best friends. It was amazing. And we did a lot of traveling then. I went to like Ireland, Scotland. I went to Oktoberfest. That was... an experience.
Ooh.
I went to Oktoberfest. At the time, I said it was the most fun I'd ever want to have again. But now I'm like, I would go back. That was good. Yeah.
Hey, I'll go with you. I've never been there. Yeah, let's go. Okay. What were you studying in London?
I just went to do nothing really. But I for my major, we have to do an internship. So I was like, oh, I'll take advantage of this. I'll go do my internship abroad. So I worked at a children's hospital in London.
Oh, cool.
Which I didn't know was a big famous children's hospital at the time, but I worked at, it's a place called Great Ormond Street. And apparently, like, celebrities go there all the time. Obviously, not when I was there. That's fine. But it was cool. It was a really good experience.
Why do celebrities go? Oh, to, like, see the kids?
Yeah.
I was like, why are celebrities at the children's hospital?
And it's like a very famous hospital, supposedly. So they go, and it builds, like, their own popularity and charity, and they go and see the kids and stuff.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Did you nail down the English accent yet?
I did not. And it's so funny. I'm actually very bad with accents. I do not understand anything anyone says if they have an accent. When I went there, I picked London on purpose. I was like, they speak English, so at least I'll go and I'll understand the people around me and I can communicate with people. I couldn't understand anything anyone said because they had such heavy accents.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
sometimes.
Especially where I worked, people came and they had like a different dialect and they had some heavier accents, and I was like, I have no idea what you're saying.
There's a specific accent, and I remember because I just met a girl when I was in Colombia. She was from England, and I remember she was talking about the accent and where they use different words for, like they already used the boot.
They have like their own slang and stuff.
Yeah, for the back of the trunk and all the other things. But there was one where they used like very, very unique terms that make almost no sense.
Yeah.
Even for like English people. So
and the kids used to make fun of us for the things we said. And she would say things that like Americans said that made no sense. They would like giggle about it. And I was like, I don't know. That's just what we say.
I need to go over there and say y'all.
Oh, they would die.
Oh, first off, the English person was already like, I bet you say it, don't you? Like, say what? She's like, say it. And I was like, what? And she's like, y'all. And I was like, oh.
That's so
I was like,
funny.
if you knew how much time I saved typing YALL instead of YOUAL.
That's why, right?
Yeah.
I had a 12-year-old that thought smiley fries were the funniest thing in the world. She got a kick out of that. She's like, I need to go to America. And you don't know what smiley fries are?
Like the ones with the smile?
They're shaped like smiley faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. She thought that was hilarious. She was like, I need to go to America.